It's so interesting that over time, the narrative has been so manipulated that we've forgotten the reason as to why Nut and Todge would be in the US in the first place, according to the narrative. The narrative tells us that, well, initially told us that they wanted half in, half out, that they needed privacy, that they needed a break, they were exhausted and burnt out from being working royals, which is really not possible. No one's burnt out from being a working royal. Perhaps Princess Anne, considering how much work she does. But that is a complete falsehood. Anyway, that was the base as to why they left the UK. It had nothing to do with security. Because the issue was, when they left supposedly for Canada, which they didn't, that at that point, they were taken, the security was stripped from them by March. By March in 2020. And that was a shock. So how can Todge get away with telling the UK High Court that he left because he couldn't provide the safety of his children and his wife, his fake children and his fake wife as well? How has it come to this?
The UK is my home and a place that I love. That will never change.
So let's have a look at this actual statement. It was with great sadness to both of us that my wife and I felt forced to step back from this role and leave the country in 2020. The UK is my home. The UK is central to the heritage of my children and a place I want them to feel at home, as much as where they live at the moment in the United States. That cannot happen if there is no possibility to keep them safe when they are on UK soil. I can't put my wife in danger like that, and given my experiences in life, I'm reluctant to unnecessarily put myself in harm's way too. How? You live in a palace. You live in a palace, and if you were to return to UK, if you were to actually live in the UK, you would be a full-time working royal. So you would have security. I mean, you have security now. When no one's believing the narrative you're telling. No one's believing this court case. No one's believing anything. But you would have, if you were in UK, full security. So that's not the issue at all. Do you understand how things have changed so ever so slightly and no one bats an eyelid? And no one says anything. Because it's been allowed for this narrative to change. This is an Australian media publisher. And almost every other publisher that published this statement from the UK High Court, it was in UK. And Royal Rota. Now, you can say about Todge lying, he's a liar. He's such a liar. But this defeats the whole point of Megxit in this statement. It actually completely erases it, which we know now didn't happen from his own accounts. But it completely negates the whole point of Megxit. It negates anything that's genuine about this whole situation and the conversations he had with the late Queen and the royal family. So that whole half in, half out argument and disagreement, what you're going to say, it happened, but Toja's now lied about it in a UK court. The UK High Court, he's lying about it. Under oath. Not protected at all. Yeah.